Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished scholars, industry partners, and delegates joining us from around the world, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, as the case may be at your end, and welcome to ICGET 2025, the fourth edition of the International Conference on Global and Emerging Trends. My name is Joash Mok, and I will be your master of ceremony today. We begin the fourth session of ICGET series, which is ICGET 2025, with the Malaysian national anthem, our usual practice to honor the nation that hosts ICGET sessions. With this, we'll go to the Malaysian national anthem. Thank you. Thank you for Malaysia for being the hosting nation this year. Over the past years, the ICGET series has grown from a small scholarly gathering into a truly global platform, one that bridges regions, disciplines, and generations of researcher. Previous ICGET sessions were held in Malaysia and Nigeria in 2018. Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia in 2023 after a COVID break, and Johor, Malaysia in 2024. In these sessions, we saw vibrant exchanges of ideas, collaboration form across borders, and conversations that push us to rethink how knowledge can and should be shared in a rapidly changing world. And each year, this community has demonstrated something powerful. When researchers connect with purpose, innovation is inevitable. This year, as we reflect on our theme, artificial intelligence, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, we do so with a clear vision of the future we want to build. ICGET is not just a conference, it is a pipeline of opportunity, especially for emerging scholars who need visibility, guidance, and access to global research ecosystems. One of the core aims of the ICGET series is to bridge the gap for early career and emerging researchers by connecting them with experienced academics, practitioners, and thought leaders. We recognize that many talented scholars, particularly from the global south, often stand at the edges of international research networks, not because of ability, but because of limited access, mentorship, and structural barriers. ICGET seeks to change that. Through this platform, we are committed to supporting mentorship that help young researchers find their voice and direction, creating an avenue for high quality research publication, ensuring that meaningful work reaches global audiences, providing opportunities for international collaboration, allowing researchers from Africa, Asia, the Middle East, Latin America, and beyond to connect with peers and partners worldwide. And most importantly, championing equity in global knowledge production, ensuring that diverse perspectives, especially from emerging economies, shape the conversations that define our global future. As we open ICGET 2025, we look back with gratitude for how far this community has come. And we look ahead with ambition for what it will become, a collaborative network where ideas move freely, scholars support one another, and innovation is driven not by geography, but by shared purpose. So, welcome once again to ICGET 2025. It is now my honor to introduce our first speaker and invite the conference chair, Dr. Bosedi Iyade Edwards. Dr. Edwards is a multidisciplinary scholar and researcher with over 15 years in education. She holds PhD and Master of Education in Educational Technology, uh, PGD Education, Master of Science in Organic Chemistry, and a Science Bachelor Honors Degree in Chemistry. She has served as principal investigator on several funded international research projects and has a rich record of postgraduate supervision, research mentorship, training, academic publishing, and global research collaboration. Her research interests are centered around instructional technologies, especially emerging media, AI in education, inclusive pedagogy, and adaptive systems, focusing on how these tools effectively integrate into diverse learning environment to enhance engagement, equity, justice, and learner autonomy. She engages in global inter and multidisciplinary collaborations in both academia and industry. And she advocates bridging innovation with inclusive, evidence based educational solution. So join me in welcoming Dr. Bosedi Iyade Edwards as she delivers her opening address titled Future Development in Artificial Intelligence. Should we celebrate or be concerned? To set the tone for the important conversations we are about to have. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Edwards.
Hello and good morning, afternoon, evening to all the speakers, the panelists, researchers, and industry partners across the world, students and colleagues joining us or watching this later across various continents. Thank you very much, the Master of Ceremony, for the awesome introduction. It's my honor to welcome you all to the fourth International Conference on Global and Emerging Trends, ICGET 2025. Our theme this year, Artificial Intelligence Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow, invites us to stand at a reflective crossroads. It challenges us to look back at where AI has come from, to re-examine the realities and disruptions we're experiencing today, and to imagine the trajectory of AI's future with clarity, courage, and global responsibility. Artificial intelligence is no longer a future possibility, as we all know. It's our present reality. AI now shapes how we learn, how we work, how we create, how we diagnose illnesses, how we govern information, and increasingly, how we understand ourselves. It is powerful, it's pervasive, and profoundly transformative. But the central question that brings us here today is not whether AI is advancing or not. It is whether its future trajectory is one we should embrace with celebration or one we should approach with caution. So this is at the heart of my welcome address, which title has been announced already. Future development in artificial intelligence, should we celebrate or be concerned? And this question will remain at the heart of every conversation we're going to have during this session. So to my welcome address. If we look at yesterday, AI began with curiosity, logic, and mathematical experimentation. It was a field driven by dreamers who were trying to teach machines how to think. But those early efforts also show us patterns of underestimating risk, patterns of overestimating capabilities, patterns of imagining futures without fully anticipating the societal consequences. So, understanding AI's past is not just a historical exercise, it's a warning and a guide. Today, AI has moved from laboratories into daily life. It shapes how we do practically everything, including design of our cities, telling of stories, and even make decisions at massive scale. But today, AI also confronts us with serious concerns. Algorithmic bias is one that reproduces and reinforces previous inequalities, misinformation at industrial scale, over reliance and cognitive offloading, labor displacement that outpaces policy, privacy erosion, and unregulated surveillance. All that is what we are dealing with. So we are living in an era where the benefits and the dangers of AI are unfolding simultaneously. So, as we celebrate innovation, we must also acknowledge that the ground beneath us is shifting. It's shifting ethically, it's shifting economically, it's shifting cognitively and socially. There is no doubt that AI is enabling extraordinary progress. Of course, as we have seen in healthcare, models are now detecting diseases earlier than the human eye and help personalize patient care. In education, where I belong, AI tutors, adaptive learning systems, intelligent feedback tools are beginning to close gaps in access, language, and resources. And as I'm speaking with you, my glasses enables me to communicate without boundaries with anyone speaking any of 250 languages because I can hear whatever they say translated in English in real time. That indeed for me is a huge progress in education where social interaction with my students from different parts of the world who are struggling as second language English speaker or foreign language English speakers have to deal with this kind of situation. In science and industry, AI accelerates discovery from materials engineering to agriculture to renewable energy optimization. And in society and community development, we see AI with potential to democratize knowledge, expand opportunities, and redefine what it means to participate in global digital economy. For many of us in academia, in research, and in industry, these advancements signals a moment worth celebrating. Tomorrow, however, is where the question becomes urgent. Should we celebrate the future of AI or be deeply concerned? The truth here is that tomorrow is not predetermined. Tomorrow is shaped by the policies we write, the systems we design, the questions we ask, and the values we embed into the technologies we create and deploy. Yet, this same technology forces us to confront unsettling questions, questions that grow louder as AI begins to edge closer to something resembling awareness. So, we need to ask ourselves, are we unintentionally deepening global inequity, creating a world where a handful of nations shape the future while the rest merely inherit it? Are we allowing new forms of bias and algorithmic discrimination to solidify digital architecture that will shape the destinies of entire generations? What happens when machines automate faster than humans can adapt, leaving societies, especially vulnerable ones, unable to keep pace or protect themselves? And as AI systems increasingly read context, anticipate human behavior, and function with a kind of synthetic intuition, who exactly draws the ethical boundary? Who decides how far is too far? Because the concerns before us, that is, privacy invasion, mass surveillance, misinformation at scale, cognitive fatigue, intellectual property erosion, and the quiet shrinking of human agency, are no longer hypothetical. They are here, they are growing. And they become even more complex when the system we build begin to interpret, predict, and respond with what looks alarmingly like independent awareness. The future of AI could be astonishing, a world of breakthroughs, personalized learning, global collaboration, medical miracles, and creativity without boundaries. but it could just as easily become a future of greater divides, concentrated power, weakened democracies, and subtle shifts where humans slowly surrender decision making to systems they no longer fully understand. In this moment, as AI stands between capability and consciousness, the path we choose will determine whether tomorrow becomes a triumph to celebrate or a warning we ignored. So, as we embark on this session of ICGET, I invite us all to think beyond our disciplines, beyond our countries, beyond our comfort zone. During this session, we will examine not only AI as a technical product, but as a social force, an educational disruptor, an economic driver, a scientific tool, a creative partner, as well as a policy challenge. We have brought together experts across both academia and industry, from K-12 to university, and from different countries, Hong Kong, Nigeria, Malaysia, to give us a holistic global perspective, and especially perspective from the global south. Our goal is not to promote utopian optimism or alarmist pessimism, but to convene a balanced, evidence-based, future-facing dialogue. So we have a responsibility to shape how AI is developed, how it is deployed, and whom it serves. We must center equity, privacy and safety, cultural and linguistic diversity, responsibility and accountability, and above all, human dignity. Because the future is not what will happen to us, it's something that will happen through the choices we make. So, as we think, let's imagine together what a global cooperative AI future could look like, not merely as technologically advanced, but human centered, justice oriented, and empowering for all. Thank you all for being here. Your participation affirms that the global dialogue on AI's future must be both courageous and collaborative. And thank you all for agreeing to lend your voice to the conversation. I wish you all a meaningful, transformative, and inspiring conference. Welcome to ICGET 2025. And thank you very much.
I believe we're waiting for Joash. Is that correct?
Okay.
Hi. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Vasedi, for an opening speech on this one and encouraging us, and to really both an encouragement and warning for us to really ethically apply and develop artificial intelligence. Is this what this conference is for us to have conversations like this and hopefully to steer the direction of AI development. Up next, we are privileged to have Mr. Andy Lee, President of Innovation First International Hong Kong Limited, a multinational educational and consumer and industrial goods company founded in the United States of America. Innovation First is also the parent company of Vex Robotics, an industry-leading developer of educational robotics and computer science solutions. Andy joined Innovation First in 2021. In his current role, Andy works to promote the company's educational hardware and software certifications and curricula to educators and students in Asia Pacific. Andy oversees partnership management and implementation for VAX 123, VAX Go, VAX AIM, VAX IQ, VAX EXP, VAX V5, CTE Work Cells platforms and Professional Development Plus, and VAX Code VR software. Andy is an accomplished executive with 15 years of progressive experience in implementing STEM programs and robotic competitions for students at all levels. Andy holds an MBA from Hofstra University. Prior to that, he received his undergraduate degree specializing in law from Carleton University. He is also a VEX certified educator, and he has spoken and presented in several forums across the world, and has made presentation related to AI literacy, STEM career pathways, and creativity in coding, math, and science with robotics and computational thinking, among so many others. Today, he will briefly share on the title Future Proofing K-12, the intersection of AI, computational thinking, and careers. So please join me to welcome Mr. Andy Lee.
Thank you very much. I just want to congratulate everyone and also say thank you to the Master of Ceremony, Joash, and also Dr. Edwards for inviting me here. I am very honored to be amongst many distinguished guests. So hopefully you can see the screen. I will be able to share my presentation, just walk you through it. So I'm sitting at a unique intersection, working with academia, as well as industry, stakeholders in education, ministries of education, large organizations, non-government and government. What's very clear is that we have in today's world technology that's increasingly being used in various industries and aspects of our daily lives. So what we want to address is this growing demand that we need to educate both educators, teachers, as well as students on the fundamental concepts that might address the interdisciplinary skills in STEM education, whether that's computer science or literacy with AI, and how that can relate to tertiary, higher education, job-ready career skills. So a little bit about myself. I'm not a traditional educator. I've been a lifelong learner. Working with many different groups, what we've been able to do is work over the last 15 years here in Asia Pacific with many large stakeholders to be able to address how that we can build capacity. So that's actually something I'm very involved in, is working with different educators to give them the confidence of how they can implement these technologies in their classroom. What we're seeing right now is a real paradigm shift, as we are even questioning what are the skills that I will need to be successful in the future. So discussion about career-ready skills, that changes all the time, and that surrounds us on a daily basis. So we find ourselves frequently trying to decide, well, what are the new technologies that we should follow? What are the new trends that are emerging? And a lot of time we do have to consult with industry. Just as you might have researchers looking for, research questions, you might tap into, well, where am I going to get funding for that research? I need to put together proposals. And a lot of the times, if you talk to industry, you'll find that they are on the forefront of what questions that they're trying to find answers for. So very important is that if we are looking at K-12 education from young ages, we need to prepare our students for those versatile, fundamental, foundational skills. And what are those skills that they'll need in the future? Something that we are definitely seeing is that there's emergence in concepts like project-based learning, where they're actually not just studying for the sake of performing some sort of standardized assessment, but they might be able to adapt and combine multiple skill sets, where they're also not just developing their technical skills, but also their soft skills like critical thinking, communication, collaboration. Those are going to be essential no matter what technology is going to be on the forefront. So what we are definitely interested in is how do I develop that from younger ages and stages? So just a little bit about who is VEX. As Joash had mentioned, is that we are a US multinational company. We're a K-12 STEM education solution provider. We have educational robotics competition, which is, again, a great engineering design challenge where we provide students every year with a different challenge that they need to solve together. So it's a collaborative effort. So they have to come up with their design principle. They need to come up with their concept. They need to break that down, and they need to try out their different hypotheses. They need to weigh and measure the results, and then they go back and they are able to iterate, improve upon their design. So that's a foundational skill that you can definitely see that would be very useful in industry, especially as we having a lot of useful technology that can allow us to be able to do the mundane, the dirty, the dangerous, and dull tasks that we are faced every day. Now, what we also are able to do is offer educational hardware that scaffolds from younger ages, so students are still developing their literacy, numeracy, and computational thinking skills, and then allow them to progress. And then that can ladder all the way up to career. So we have some unique resources that allow us to do this, as well as teacher certification. So we've actually worked in a lot of different countries where we're actually transforming their education system. A good example would be Vietnam, where we are working with the Ministry of Education in order to design, develop curriculum, as well as classrooms. Recently, this last month, we've built 100 schools with educational robotics inside them in 100 days. We only had 100 days to do that. And that's something that's no easy feat, because this is across the nation in 30 plus provinces. So just to address it, they're also looking at the same paradigm shift. In Vietnam, as many other countries, they're thinking about, well, with this new artificial intelligence, what does that mean for our future? Can we just still rely on our traditional industry, or do we need to prepare ourselves? Their goal, their mission in the next 5 years, they want to be in the top 20 of socioeconomic developed countries as measured by OECD. So we have to break this down into manageable steps. A lot of the discussion that has been had in the past is, what is artificial intelligence? And AI in education has a whole bunch of other different issues. So we might think of AI in education as a large language model, a generative AI. That's something that's one very common aspect. But there's also other aspects of artificial intelligence, like machine learning, where we might have adaptive algorithms. Maybe we're using it to optimize teaching, to be able to take in different data sets and be able to analyze those. Maybe we want to automate some of the boring administrative processes. So fundamentally, AI's role is shifting, and it's going from the static content delivery, or canned responses, or canned replies, or canned lectures, into something that's more dynamic and personalized. So it can act as a resource that can really help to adapt the learning material to help differentiate the student or the educator's learning, and then be able to help them transform. So this transformation that we're seeing right now is going to really help us be able to help students and learners to move towards higher order human skills. Like we mentioned before, the critical thinking, or the ethical reasoning, and the creative problem solving. That's something that the technology is just not there right now for us to be able to see to replace. Those human elements are still going to be very, very important for our students to continue to develop. So things that we are seeing, obviously, from AI-powered technologies every day: speech recognition, whether it's Alexa or Siri, or many other ways that we're able to take these voice recognition and allow us to be able to use that to make our lives more easy. We look at things where, for us, AI and literacy, we might use vision sensors. So like a automated vision sensor, or some sort of digital device, your sensors be able to take in that data, be able to translate that, consolidate that, and then be able to make sense of it all. So we use that right now, where you might use your iPhone to recognize your face to unlock your access to your phone. Or you might use that to be able to recognize different objects or shapes for self-driving cars. How do I know that's not just a picture of a human, but an actual human? And then if I spot that human, how to avoid that person? How to make sure that there's safety built into the autopilot of your autonomous car. So we can teach these different concepts, but there still needs to be the application, the understanding. Why would I develop this? Why would I actually apply this technology? And we can be able to see that it surrounds us every day. So the aspects of artificial intelligence are very important for us to understand. That's kind of a big grouping, but then there's a lot of different things that fall as subsets of artificial intelligence. So rather than us just to say AI is going to change the world and it's this magic wand, let's break it down into problems that we can solve for and how we might apply that technology. So we see that they don't operate in unique silos. There's a lot of overlap. And that what we need to in education context, because we are working with minors and students, is that we need to be aware that there are going to be some fundamental shifts in the demands of employers and career needs, career skills in the future. New jobs are going to be created. They're happening as we speak. Same thing as people are questioning, what is the purpose of tertiary education? What is the purpose of going into debt? In some cases for universities where they might be studying a very general degree. And when they graduate with that degree, there's not jobs waiting for them. There's a huge shift in companies that are looking for people with practical skills. And actually, it's not a requirement to have a higher education degree. I'm not advocating don't pursue higher education, but I am actually advocating is thinking about taking a degree that allows you to apply what you have learned or be able to be curious about certain problems and be able to try your hand at a real world problem solving skill. So things that we do in order to help promote this. We actually, in the month of December, we're promoting for Computer Science Education Week, the Hour of Artificial Intelligence. You can go to hoc.vex.com. That's hourofcode.vex.com. And then you'll find a lot of educator material, educator-facing material that address why do we want to promote literacy with artificial intelligence. So this is something that can be posed to you as educators, thinking about what are the needs of your learners and how you might be able to develop the confidence and competency as well, to be able to address new technology. So it's not just only AI, but also thinking about how you might be able to break down problems, computational thinking, how you might be able to use different technology that's available so that you can solve something in your community. So there's no doubt that AI is powering changes. Right now, there's a lot of ethical concerns. How to use AI responsibly. How do I make sure that students who are writing papers, they didn't just throw something into ChatGPT to produce a result? How do I safeguard data and information of minors, those under age, to make sure that they're protected? How do we also give students the ability to allow them to ensure their confidentiality? Sometimes they might ask questions or use generative AI, large language models, to provide counseling and maybe personal life advice. Is that reliable? That's something that's very concerning. So we're seeing that now it's very difficult for people with the way that they can use software to digitally generate images. It's hard for us to even differentiate between what is real and what is not. What can we trust? So again, the fundamental skills of critically thinking and be able to allow students to reason is going to still be very, very important for us. Now, here's something that's actually quite interesting. I think that a lot of people have heard of NVIDIA, AI chipset maker. Certainly, they've invested a lot in countries like Malaysia, Asia Pacific. There's a lot of questions about what are the careers that are necessary, but here's something that's actually really ironic, is that Jensen Huang, the CEO, has actually mentioned that the jobs of the future that they're going to need for their data centers is they're going to need electricians and plumbers. Why? Well, these servers that are creating a lot of data, and they're needing a lot of electricity, and also they're water cooled. So actually he himself, he's looking for not just people with computational thinking, but he also wants people who are able to solve problems. And in his case, it's going to be for plumbing and electricity. Very interesting, right? So just as we are looking at what are jobs of the future, that may change. Certainly my background, getting started with a degree in law, moving towards a business degree in marketing, manufacturing products from electronics, consumer electronics, to consumer goods, to now educational robotics. We all might have a learning pathway that's a little bit messy. It's not so clear. We might move to a certain country to find different opportunities. And that's something that's very important, is that we need to build the resilience of our students and learners. So something that's quite funny is that with this image, that programmers, they're worried about ChatGPT. It's the same way that I might say, well, there's no sense in knowing math because we've invented the calculator. I wouldn't worry about this because we're still many other skills that we can develop. So the paradox that we're facing right now in education is that there may be people of all types, but there may be people that would generate a question or a data set or a bank of questions for students to be examined using generative AI. The students might take that information and then they're going to generate results. And then the lecturer or the researcher or the teacher might take their results and analyze them just to spit out a result and a metric, a measurement. And this is something that we need to be aware of, is that maybe it's better to have a human conversation about a subject rather than just be able to have a student write an exam. Maybe the world of assessment is changing as well. So with that being said, how we teach AI, what can we teach? Well, the aspects are very important. In the education industry, which we firmly sit in, we wish to focus on those fundamental skills to allow students to become more confident so that they can explore those higher learning pathways that lead into aspects of artificial intelligence. So we are very, very much aware that without the fundamentals like basic computer science concepts, they're not going to be able to allow them to grow into those more advanced areas. And we do work with a lot of different academics throughout the world in order to generate research. So a lot of groups are looking at how they might apply artificial intelligence in a K-12 setting. And this might mean, and this is changing, so this is changing very rapidly, that they need to understand, evaluate, or how to use these different tools and how to prepare those students for 21st century skills. So something that we are very aware of is that now you don't learn one subject alone in a silo. You're learning how you might be able to apply this integrated with many different subjects, and language and communication is key. So what we are definitely aware of is that there's more and more research that we can be able to develop together on a macro level, looking at the big picture. Governments are looking at this and they're consulting with academe, researchers. And I think that there's a lot that we can do together. So with that being said, this is my contact information. If anyone has any research questions or wants to connect to talk about industry, what industry is looking for aspects of CT and AI and how that might lead to career. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Andy Lee. We're next. We would thank you for sharing with us like how we can actually really apply AI in education and some of the challenges that there is, and it's a topic that's worth thinking and talking through, and that's always a sharp edge to every weapons, and when put to good use, it would definitely benefit. And when it's abused, of course, there could be dangers as well. And would like to thank Mr. Andy for sharing with us these insights, and we will love to have more conversation, hear more about this during the panel discussion later. Um, Next, we would like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Hassan Abu Hasna to speak to us today. Dr. Hassan Abu Hasna is an associate professor at Sunway University, Malaysia's Faculty of Education. He specializes in educational technology, and prior to this role, he served as an assistant professor at University Technology Malaysia, UTM, where he has also completed a postdoctoral fellowship. Dr. Abu Hasna earned his PhD in educational technology from UTM and a master's degree from University Putra Malaysia, UPM. His research focuses on online education, MOOCs, and e-learning, with numerous publications indexed in prestigious databases such as the Web of Science and Scopus. And Dr. Abu Hasna has also a successful record of graduate and doctoral supervision as part of his contribution to the field. Throughout his academic career, he has demonstrated a strong commitment to advancing the integration of technology in education, contributing significantly to both research and pedagogy. His work continues to influence the field, positioning him as a respected figure in the academic community. Today, it's our privilege to have Dr. Abu Hasna to be speaking briefly on the topic of reimagining learning, AI in teaching, learning, and the future of higher education. Please help me to welcome Dr. Hassan Abu Hasna for the next speaking session. Here's to you, Dr. Hassan.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Can you hear me and see my screen?
We can hear.
Sorry? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can see your screen, but I think your camera is turned off.
Okay. Is it
Yeah,
on?
great.
All right.
Yeah, over to you, Dr. Abu Hassan. Asna.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the introduction. And it's an honor to be here and part of ICGET for the third year in a row. And I've witnessed how it grows every year. And as someone who has spent years at the intersection of AI and education, I'm very excited to share the vision of how AI is reshaping higher education worldwide. In this keynote, I'll be talking briefly about reimagining learning, how AI is redefining teaching, learning, and in the future of higher education. We will explore the transformative power of AI in our universities and how it actually going to affect our tomorrow's graduates. Um, as we stand at the dawn of the new era in education, I'm always thinking about how this, evaluation happened and how far we have come from the very beginning chalkboards and overhead projectors to today's chatbots and virtual tutors. It's just a couple of years back, AI has gone mainstream in the campus. Tools like ChatGPT is bursting now, and it's actually taking the lead in every classroom's library, and it's been used widely from both students and educators as well. Um, Even national leaders are talking about AI and how to generalize AI, how to develop AI policy. Um, well, it's a lot of ambitious as well as concerns. As AI offers the ability to personalize learning at scales that never happened before. And actually, this is very the exact moment that on us to reimagine learning, not only the content, not only the syllabus, but only we need to talk about reimagining the assessment because it's very hard nowadays to actually measure these assessment, how this is going to affect our students' mental health, high order thinking, are we affecting them or helping them? So we need to discuss about all these all together. So let's start with how AI is redefining teaching for the teachers. Think of AI as they call it, augmented educator, a supportive colleague that handles tasks, maybe managing time. Where one exciting example of AI teaching assistant. Um, I remember reading about some AI teaching assistant at Georgia Technology and AI System, which is called Jill Watson, that has been employed to answer students' routine questions like a Q&A. And he has developed this chatbot to answer the students instead of just, every time the student need to answer or to ask questions, will go to their educator, then this chatbot stepped on to answer their questions. This is a great way of using or utilizing AI. Also, beyond the virtual teaching assistant, AI can take over grading and feedback. For objective like assessment and essays, many universities are using this nowadays to grade quizzes. It's actually something not new. We have been using AI for a very long time. I mean, using a platform like Moodle and Blackboards, when we utilize these bank questions, and then the once the students are ready and done with the exam, the answers will be immediately shown to them. This is actually one of the utilization of AI. Also, AI could provide data-driven insights where learning management system augmented with AI can analyze the student performance and give us an insight of how these could help us to rethink about our teaching and learning process. As AI is becoming more creative partner of teaching. It's not just a technology that is going to ruin education or cheating in education. We must think of it as a teaching partner or thinking partner that needs a fresh set of practice, maybe problem simulation or a concept simulation. So AI content generation tools can draft these materials uh, as you demand. Also, when we talk about AI for learning, um, how AI transformed the learning process. Perhaps the most exciting development is the rise of intelligent tutoring system. I'm sure all of us are aware of, which is ITS. ITS is a personal tutor that is available 24/7 for every student using AI. And these students or these systems deliver personalized instruction, adapting to the learner's level to and progress and feedback. They are constantly analyzing what the students know, what the students doesn't know, and how to develop their skills. Now, these such adaptive learning platforms is where the student get the chance to get answers for harder questions, to keep them challenged, keep them motivated, and keep them engaged. Also, it's a very dynamic pacing for and also tailored support for each students. um, in addition to that, AI tutors provide instant feedback, which instead of waiting days and hours to or go back home to get the feedback from your teacher, a student now can get hints and correction instantly. For example, in a coding course, AI tutor can immediately say, well, check this line, this is wrong, we can redo it, these are the instruction and so on. When we talk about, after we talk about AI as a teaching assistant and also as personalized learning, AI could help in research and campus as well. So the impact of AI in higher education goes beyond classrooms. It's also transforming research and campus operation. As someone who is very interested in research, I could tell you that AI has become a viral tool, viral assistant to scholars. But we need to consider how to use it. It's not random, it's a very systematic way. So AI is, when it comes to, let's say, productivity or proficiency of AI, is an excellent tool, but we need to know how to do it. It's not random. We need to master prompt engineering. We need to know how AI could actually analyze literature, how AI could give or provide AI-driven literature review tools. And this is something that I heavily, teach my students and the staff colleagues, which, for example, Scopus AI, Skyspace, all these tools that I usually use in my workshops and training to tell them, I mean, it's not a luxury anymore. It's something that you need to know as a researcher, as a scholar, or else you will be left behind. It's very important, and it allows the researcher to focus more on asking the right questions instead of looking for suitable literature and etc. So AI system is a brilliant tool. It's an excellent assistant when it comes to saving time and giving you a very precise results. And also AI tools are sparking in new forms of collaboration and innovation in academia, where researchers are different parts. I mean, imagine collaborating in a research from different parts in the world, where AI can help manage and organize these, initiatives. Now, when we talk about the examples that we talk about, opportunities, personalizing, and access engagement, with those examples in mind, I mean, let's just step back and look at the big picture opportunities AI offers to higher education. And first and foremost, which is personalized learning for all, and also thinking about technology and how it could be tailored for each individual and student need in real time, where a student could actually develop their certain skills using AI, and also AI can dramatically expand the access to quality education, where the tutors will focus on the students who actually need help instead of treating all the students in the same way. Um, Also, the implication of AI itself, where the ability is provided to learners in developing countries with AI mentor for free instead of just leaving the whole process randomly. And this also could help the process of education in closing gaps, where quality learning is also valuable. Um, when we talk about challenges, ethics, um, as we are about to talk about AI and utilization of AI, we must address these challenges and ethical dilemmas it brings. The first is the bias and fairness. We need to make sure that AI are trained well in a way that it will give the same results for everyone. You know, doesn't matter the race, the color of the people. So we need to train AI in a way that all people are equal, equality, inclusivity, and this is a very serious concern in education. And I can see, as someone who have been teaching AI from the beginning, that it's actually updating and changing a lot in this particular area. Um, some of the facial recognition, for example, attendance system, have struggled to recognize students of color at the beginning of AI, but now they are working very hard to avoid these kind of problems and issues. So this is a very big concern when it comes to AI use and in education. Um, Also, for the future forwards skills and AI powered. What does all this mean for our students is that we ourselves need to move forward with AI, because I've seen lecturers who refuse to use AI, or who would like to treat students with, I mean, you are not allowed to use AI. AI is prohibited, and they are, in a way, uh, not allowing AI at all when it comes to essay and assessment. I'm not, I'm not, I mean, agreeing with their opinions, because they say, let's say AI is minimizing the students' ability to think or overthinking, but in a way, these lecturers could be true, but because themselves they don't know how it works, how AI actually could actually help develop some skills among the students, so they just refuse the use of AI at all. So my advice for both teachers and students, AI is just a technology tool that we need to utilize in education with some limits and some policy and some ethics that we need to keep in mind. So as a conclusion, AI is just, it's not the future. It's already here to help us, not to replace teachers, not to replace curriculum. AI is here as a tool to guide us, maybe save some time for us. So educators must guide AI and train AI the correct way, so that it will be the best teaching assistance or personal assistance in sometimes. The future of higher education is ours to create. So we need to, let's say, balance between the use of AI. I mean, to what extent we are using AI, and that should be very clear to both students, the university itself, and for the educators. With that, thank you very much for this brief presentation. And these are my communication personal information. If you would like to collaborate or research and so on, I would be happy to collaborate. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hassan Abu Hasna, for sharing with us that AI can be also a teaching assistant, something that we may not always think of, but to utilize the power of AI to assist the already very effective methods of teaching that we already have, would be a leap in our advancement in educational technology. And thank you for sharing with us your insight. As we come to the end of these presentations, we would like to move directly into the panel discussion session, where we can explore on these views and topics in a more extensive manner. And with this, all the speakers will be joining us in this session. Although I've already introduced them, I will just mention them again for the sake of those who might be just joining us on this conference. And so we have Dr. Bosedi Yade Edwards, who will be moderating this panel discussion. And joining her will be Mr. Andy Lee and Dr. Hassan Abu Hasna in the panel discussion. And the discussion will revolve around what they have presented and how AI can be used and applied in educational technology. Yes, welcome to the session. If we would bring up all our speakers to this session right now. Can we bring up all the speakers to the screen here right now? Yes. Yes, with this, I will pass the time over to Dr. Bosedi Edwards, and see you later on.
Thank you very much to our MC. Please, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you very much. And thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedules. I know you are very busy, and I know this is weekend, family time. So thank you for taking the time out to lend your voice to what I consider one of the most important global conversations going on around the world right now. The theme of the conference is artificial intelligence yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And that will be what we are going to be focusing on as well. Although the framing will be based on what I mentioned earlier during my welcome address. Should we celebrate or be concerned? So we'll start by looking at AI yesterday, foundations and missteps. So I'm going to be starting from you, Mr. Andy Lee. So, and then while during your introduction, we also learned that you have a background in law. So I think you have also navigated across board like in a very wonderful way too. So I hope you can also bring that to bear on your contribution. So my first question will be, what lessons from AI's early development should inform our decisions today? And considering yesterday as well, what assumptions were wrong, and then how have those errors continue to shape current challenges?
Mm. Thank you, Dr. Edwards, and also a pleasure to hear from you as well, Dr. Abu Hasna. Yeah, this is more of a practical viewpoint. Is that what we have seen? The assumptions that were wrong is that there's humans don't like we talk about artificial intelligence replacing or mimicking human intelligence, but sometimes as humans we don't get it right either, right? We certainly make mistakes, and maybe there's not so much logic there as well. So sometimes there's paradoxes where decision made is something that's much more complex. It's got to take into account a lot of different viewpoints. So the most profound wrong assumption is, trivial. Is like, how does the world work? Even we as humans, we might gather at the United Nations, and unfortunately, there's conflicts between different communities, and they each have their own view. So the thing that we've noticed with artificial intelligence is trying to please the user, trying to give you an answer that is going to make you happy. So we know that life is not only sunshine and roses. We also will have continuous problems. So I think that that's something that we are going to learn from those types of errors, is that, well, maybe sometimes we can't handle the truth, that the artificial intelligence will tell us something that we don't agree with, but actually it might actually evolve a little bit further. So some of the things that we've seen with confabulations, or also sometimes referred to as hallucinations, where there's been examples in a legal context where there's been fake cases, fake precedents created in order to support a view, support an argument. So this is something that will get better, I guess, over time, and as we train these models to be better, and they're able to recognize better patterns. But yeah, they're gonna struggle with some of the truthful things that make us human.
Okay, thank you very much. Dr. Azan, do you want to say something briefly on that before we move on to the next question?
Yes, I totally agree with Mr. Andy. AI is not always, accurate when it comes to some of the results. You just want to make the readers happy or the customers happy. For example, when I use AI for my, let's say, I just tried once to use AI to evaluate my students. And I noticed the pattern that always the results will be positive.
Yeah.
No matter what the content is, it's always positive. This is a very well written essay. This is a very good. It doesn't matter, uh, whether it's actually matches the rubric or not. It's always positive. So yeah, unless you particularly ask AI to be mean, some cases, or else it will just give positive feedback. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I've experienced that as well, and I was really so mad at AI that day. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, everything was just okay, nothing to
Everything is okay.
contribute. Yeah.
Always. I'm living the dream era. Yeah.
Thank you for pointing that. I hope instructors can also take note of that and be careful when it comes to all that. I'll stay with you, Dr. Azan. So, in your opinion, based on all the discussions we've been having, Is AI more of a celebration or a concern right now?
Well, I could say it's both. When you know how to use AI, when you know when to use AI, then this is a celebration. But when you rely 100% on AI, everything is just produced by AI without considering any ethical or policy, especially when it comes to research, because my main concern is research. And if you just generated the whole proposal using AI without even giving the minimum efforts to understand the situation, this is a very big concern.
So
Um,
are you saying it's 50-50?
well, I'm more of celebrating than concerning, because I believe that I should educate, and this is what we do. This is our role as educators, to educate people how to use this technological tool the correct way, or else we would be concerned, you know. So it's our role to educate ourselves and educate people, educate students to use AI the ethical way. Then we should all celebrate then.
Okay, thank you very much. So back to Andy. So still on the same question, I want you to also add what immediate risk in today's AI ecosystem you think demand urgent global attention.
Well, safeguarding in terms of being wards, being in charge of students and helping shape their learning pathway. How do we make sure that there's guardrails? How do we make sure that there's information that they can actually doesn't lead them down deep, dark paths? So I'm not endorsing this company, but it's an interesting, just a very relevant ed tech company. Is that there's generative AI companies, models are focused on K to 12. One of them is something that's called. Sorry, the name just escaped me for a moment. Oh, sorry, Flint AI. And sitting and listening to the why, the genesis of why they got started was that they still want to give students the opportunity to ask better prompts, better questions. They don't want to give them, this long diatribe or this long academic research reply. They want them to be able to understand it in more simplified terms. So I think that that is answer to some of the risks, the immediate risk, which again is that we don't want students to run into any deep, dark pathways that might lead them to doing things that might have moral or ethical questions or issues.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, so that's about AI yesterday and AI today. So we are moving on to the tomorrow of AI, the possible futures. So I want to call our mind back to the recent US Saudi conference that just held. I think somebody made reference to it. Yeah, I think Mr. Andy during your presentation. When the speakers, that was Elon and Jensen, when they were asked about what they think work looks like in the future, Elon believes that work will be optional. That was exactly what he said. He said in the nearest future, work will be optional. People will only work if they want to work. Like we're not going to need to work to be able to earn. I don't know where he was coming from there. Jensen thinks a little bit differently, but I want to ask, what are your thoughts thinking about the future where AI is driving us to? I'll start with you, Andy.
Yeah, that's a great question. So actually, we did a collaboration with a professor, Dr. David Turetsky from Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, in the United States. So he's a professor emeritus for computer science there. And what he was able to do with his research team is that he was able to take some of our hardware, educational robotics hardware, which is already a pre-built robot that has wheels. It's got sensors. It's got a gyroscope, so it knows its location on the X, Y, Z axes. It's got a vision sensor. So he was able to program that using voice commands. And when we talk about like the future, it's something that goes back to Jensen Huang or even Elon Musk, is that the new programming language is going to be human. We're going to have a natural language conversation. So we might say, Dr. Edwards, Dr. Abu Hasna, what do you feel like eating for dinner tonight? And we might say, well, I would really like to have this special nasi goreng or some sort of dish, and that might turn into instructing agent or some sort of computer interface is like, all right, now go and shop for those ingredients, and then that might be delivered to you by a drone or delivered by autonomous vehicle, and then it may be brought into your apartment, and then there's a robo chef and it's all prepared for you. So I think that in terms of the future is that we're going to see this ecosystem, and we're going to look at closer to a more natural language interface that we're going to be able to help solve some of the mundane things, such as like, what are we going to have for dinner? Which me and my wife, every day, we get into that long discussion. It turns into 1 hour, and then you're still hungry.
Thank you for that. So the idea is we're going to have so much being done for us. So what are we going to be left to do, Dr. Azan?
Well, I don't really think or believe that work will become optional.
Okay.
Instead, the nature of work, I mean, will change. That's for sure. Even in the most advanced scenarios, if let's say AI is doing 70 or 80% of the work, we still need to do some of this work, right? We still need to train AI. We still need to do the creativity, the human conception, the judgment, ethical concerns, and so on. So, no, I don't foresee a future where we simply relax and let AI run the society. Instead, I I see the nature of the work could be different in more meaningful ways. Maybe it could help us to some extent, but not. It's not an optional. Work will never be an optional. We need to work to feed our children, or else. I mean, this is not the case for Elon Musk for sure. He doesn't have to worry about working or not.
So you agree with that, because I see you nodding your head, Andy.
Yeah, I agree absolutely. Is that we will work on future problems that as we have this common safety, social, economic net, where we're not necessarily worried about, we're not there just yet about hunger or about quality of certain basic essential human needs, like medical, medicine, obviously housing, education. Will all be much further along in 5, hopefully, years, if not 50 years from now. So some of the things that will keep us busy is solving some of the problems that we haven't faced just yet, right? So the real world problems, which might be posed by society in the future, where it might be related to how do I solve energy needs? How do I transact, and how do I solve exploring different areas of the world which are still yet unexplored? So some of the things that current events, we're seeing that there's now more connectivity than we've ever experienced, where we can reach each other like we're doing right now through video conferencing. We can connect with people from all around the world. And we're finding a lot of similarities. So I think that some of the things that will be is like, how do we bridge those differences or those gaps? And that hopefully the technology will be able to help us be able to differentiate a little bit of the learning and be able to help us understand our differences with different cultures or people.
Thank you very much. I just want to add that while I would like to be able to say, yes, I agree with you 100%, I'm also trying to be, cautious, because when I think back some 30, 40 years back, those days when mobile phones were not anywhere. I still remember then, I think when I was in high school, when we see the biggest of the biggest people in town, then if you manage to run into them or see them holding the cellular at that time, I mean, they were the only ones who can afford such. But somehow I remember the very first time we saw such a sight, and people said, oh, he's just like, just trying to mess around. How can you speak through a phone that is not wired? I mean, as far back, I mean, back then, nobody believed the possibility of a phone that is not wired being able to communicate. We could relate with, okay, it's connected, so the wire can carry it to wherever. But then that became our reality like a few years later, and then we are here. I can see you. This were, if you told some people 40 years ago, they will tell you what we are doing right now is absolutely impossible. So I'm taking a little bit of caution in saying something is never going to happen. Who knows? I know that Elon can be weird when it comes to things, policies or issues. He's always like at one extreme when every other person is at the other. But we have seen him being correct many times. So I'm trying to take that with caution. I agree with you also that things will be different a lot, but I don't want to think that anything is impossible. Okay, so let's move on to the last question on AIs tomorrow. So, what developments in the next 5 to 10 years worry you the most? I'll start with you, Dr. Azam.
Sorry?
What developments worry you the most in the next nearest future regarding AI?
Um, well, to be honest, I'm very excited about AI and how AI, I mean, understand us. It maybe understand you more than your own wife. But at the same time, I'm worried about this whole, next generation where they actually, because if we talk about us, we know how to deal with AI, how to communicate with AI. But when it comes to generation, for example, my students, they 100% rely on AI. And doesn't matter how many times I need to tell them, please at least make the minimum effort to to at least understand the topic. So I was thinking about this, and I came out to the conclusion that they will never do it unless I do something. I mean, related to their assessment on marks and evaluation. So the other day I was thinking, and I told them, okay, what I'm gonna do is I know all of you are using ChatGPT. So instead of marking the outcome that came from ChatGPT, I want to mark your prompts. So you need to submit two things to me: the outcome, which is the essay itself, and the dialogue, the whole prompts between you and ChatGPT. So I know what exactly you asked ChatGPT to do for you. Instead of writing 200 words, no, I want to see the whole thing. I want to see, okay, summarize, um, maybe do deep search for me, provide me with the top sources. And starting from there, I noticed that they somehow started to change a little bit so that they could actually defend and they could present their work, they could understand. So I think this is what we need to do. We need to educate our students. Somehow they feel it's not compulsory. It's something that, okay, I'm enjoying the whole process instead of just, don't use AI. It's 100%, prohibited. Instead, just educate them the best way. So this is what I believe is going to be the best to avoid any issues with AI, and not 100% relying on AI, is just by educating this generation.
Thank you very much. I'm back to you, Mr. Andy. What do you have to say to
Yeah.
that?
Oh, I absolutely agree. The prompts, the critical thinking, asking the right questions and reflecting, being able to analyze the results and being able to improve upon it is really, really important. Back to the question, what developments kind of worry me? Well, I'll put a lens as a parent as well as in education. So one thing that worries me is curriculum by algorithm and even standardized assessment. So now, like, maybe talk about the career portion. If you've ever applied for a job, sometimes you have to enter in a questionnaire, and then that filters to the HR whether or not you'll be called in for actual interview. So it dehumanizes the process, right? In the past, you'd put on your best clothes, you'd have a nice conversation, you'd get to know the person, what your similarities are. And actually, there's a lot of things that are not written in a 1 or 2 or 3 or multiple page resume CV. And there's a lot of different things about the human connection, how you get to know each other, that may not be able to describe in that questionnaire that you took. So the back to the education part, the curriculum by algorithm, I think that really hinders and hurts students at a younger age, because at that young age, there might be a lot of different things that they might not have developed. So I'll give you an example. My son during COVID, he's now 10, but at that time he was about age 5. A lot of people had to switch to online learning. But if you didn't develop your handwriting skills, how could I type in even the website that I was supposed to join in order to join online instruction? Also, his handwriting suffered because he didn't practice. He'd have to type. And that affected him now as he's going into different schools. They're asking for a handwriting assessment. So again, there's a lot of issues that are brought up by that, but the standardized assessment or curriculum by algorithm is my biggest worry, that we move towards that and we over rely upon that, so that we have to be careful how to humanize it again, or how to make sure that there's ways to take into account randomness. Sometimes you might miss that one interview by that one person who's actually standout best person for the job, but for whatever reason you didn't put in your filters the requirement that they fill.
Thank you very much. So everything boils down to over reliance on AI, yeah, which is going to be very challenging to actually manage. So thank you for the suggestion on some of the things that teachers can begin to do from now. I think that will help a lot. Okay, so I'm moving on to the issue of ethics, governance, and global inequity. And I think we would like to explore your background on law there when you are responding to the question. So I want us to start with global AI regulation. Do you think it's feasible, or do you think geopolitical competition will make it impossible? What are your thoughts? I'm still staying with you. Yeah.
Oh, yes, thank you. So in terms of large language models, artificial intelligence, we require training, we require a lot of different viewpoints, and then we'll be able to make the models better. So where we stand right now, it is important to regulate, but how do we get everybody to agree what are the different goals? So my understanding in Malaysia, as an example, is that there's a large language model called ILMU, and that is going to be focused on developing the algorithms, Bahasa Melayu, and also in English. Now, these large language models take a lot of money in order to train, okay? And not a lot of them are even showing that they're even profitable. There's many that are emerging. So how I pose this kind of back to a question that I have is like, how do we regulate something that we're not sharing information, we're not cooperating? How do we make sure that there's not people trying to push their interests or their vision or their version in a certain direction? And that certainly makes it more of a ethical concern. Is like, well, how do I make sure that the answers coming back actually match my viewpoint or match my morals and ethics as well? So there's certainly been a lot of discussion. For example, if you travel to mainland China, they're trying to create their own models that you may not be able to access overseas, or when you go to China, you can't access other overseas models, right? So that's something, again, is like freedom of information. Who is that arbiter? Who is that person deciding what you see or you experience?
Thank you very much. So we see the problem of, or the challenges of a personal, national, or regional agenda there, which is. So I want to ask the question directly now. Do you think global regulation is feasible or not?
Wow. Okay, that's a heavy question. So I mean, there's people who are signatories to like sustainable development goals, and we do work with United Nations. I work with the Sustainable Development Goal Academy at Sunway, SDG Academy. So we have different views that I think we can all say that we might agree on, but the devil is in the details, and who owns that information. Again, maybe this is jumping ahead, but like these models, again, are so expensive. How can a poor nation compete against a rich nation, right? How can they make sure that their viewpoints and their voices heard when they're not the ones paying or footing the bill? So, short answer, it's going to be really difficult.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so Dr. Zhang, back to you. So I want to take it to education now. We see a lot of AI task forces being set up in universities and colleges. What do you think about those task forces, and what do you think they should be doing?
I think we should be changing the way we evaluate and give tasks and activities to our students. I mean, it's not logic that we give the same evaluation before and after AI. I mean, essay questions. I mean, it's not even logic to give essay questions anymore, unless you really want or ask your students to at least present or summarize orally, or else if it's only submission. This, I mean, we believe the students use ChatGPT, and then maybe some of the lecturers will mark or evaluate using ChatGPT, and then we give feedback to students back from ChatGPT. So at the end, they are graduating with their ChatGPT. We need to change the assessment types, or else it's gonna be all ruined. You know,
Thank you.
there's something wrong. We need to do something about
Yeah, so I am still staying there. So I want you to also address, before I move back, I want you to also address the issue of inclusion. Like it was mentioned earlier when Mr. Andy was speaking, the idea of small nations, big nations, rich nations, poor nations. Some can afford to build their own models. Some can't even, they don't even have a budget that is meaningful. So they can't start thinking about that. So do you see, how do you see AI affecting inclusion? And do you think it's actually making sense that we are talking about inclusion? Is it going to happen, especially considering this kind of situation across different nations?
Yeah, I think it's hard to paint with a broad brush to say every country or all the citizens in one country can do something. But the democratization of information and what's available out there allows people to transcend borders. So I think it's possible, like according to your viewpoint, and opportunity for people to either relocate or be able to find opportunities in other places. So if you are hungry, if you are willing, if you are able, opportunities are endless. We've seen this in a lot of cases. Now, some places like you might find that there might be other regulations, other things that are their priority that make it difficult for them to promote. For example, not to pick on any particular country, but like if you have poor telecom, how do you access the internet? How are you supposed to tap into all these tools, right? So it might boil down to that there's one conglomerate that runs all telecom, and therefore they're the bottleneck. So back to the question at hand, the regulation, the inequality that will happen. There are some very large interest groups, like going back to Elon Musk. He's working through Starlink to partner up with remote area schools so that they have internet access. I believe Google, I don't know if the program's still going ahead, but there was also a program there where they wanted to make sure that many people could access Google services. Now, we can see that there's a lot of social enterprise companies, because that would certainly help Google as a business. Their model is primarily search engine, which will change through AI, because now your prompts are providing a summary versus a bunch of different links that then you have to go and search and you have to click on. And the ones that pay the highest in advertising fees for those keywords, that's what shows up first. So it's just by order. That's why you find the information first to whoever is paying the most for the keyword. So technology is going to change. How we search for information is going to change. I think, again, people are able to travel and move around and get information. So I think that there'll be a natural balancing act as we find it becomes more available.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm still on that, Dr. Azan. Fortunately, Dr. Azan is from Palestine. I am from Nigeria. And I remember speaking to someone a few hours back who was supposed to join this session. And he said, I'm sorry, our internet is so weak, we can't connect to video calls. In fact, there is no power since yesterday, and my power bank is already empty. So, I mean, we still have people in 2025 having to deal with that. And here we are, discussing different models and the future and AI becoming aware and all that. So, how can we help? I mean, in our own little way, in small situations, how can we help to bridge these gaps, Dr. Azan? To speak to that?
Well, I don't think we can do anything. I think in my situation, for example, I am voluntarily teaching in Gaza for one of the universities affected for the last year. And I've been teaching for these students, online, but nobody would actually join because they don't have internet, but they just want to get along with their, educational, and they want to graduate. And so what I do is I give them some questions, not actually very deep, because I know they are threatened, they are scared, and they don't have internet. And in some cases, they will have internet for example, once a week, let's say. Uh, when they have the internet, they will use ChatGPT, but to some extent, their ChatGPT is very exposed because they don't have the experience yet. I mean, I'm using the same, let's say, same questions with my Malaysian students, but they have the experience to humanize their answers to the extent that the report will be zero AI detection.
Yeah.
While students from Gaza, they just use the very traditional initial way that you can actually tell that this is very basic, but for them, this is very advanced. So back to your question, we cannot do anything. I mean,
Wow.
what should we do? I mean, in this situation in Gaza, what should I do? Should I move them to another place, or I don't know. I really don't have any answer to this question.
Well, thank you very much. You want to say something on top of that, Mr. Andy?
Yeah, well, first of all, I am really grateful that your background allows you to be able to help those in need and those who are under privileged, disadvantaged. We certainly want to be able to help all learners. So actually from our side, just industry viewpoint, we recognize that there's problems. So we have a lot of online resources because the traditional business in technology, especially in education, information gets outdated so quickly. So like if we were to traditionally print something, it could be in the next couple months outdated already. So a lot of our curriculum, a lot of our educator resources are all based online. So what we've actually created is something that is an offline version of all our online material. So it's a hotspot using a Raspberry Pi, and it's very economical that we can put all of our data on there so that in the classroom with Chromebooks, if they are, again, I know that's another barrier, but without internet, you can't really use the Chromebook and unlock the power of the internet and all the information is there. So we've created a hotspot that all I need is power, that you can access all of the different educator resources, the lesson plans, even all of our virtual robotics software that allows you to program a virtual robot without the physical robot. So that provides asynchronous learning, both in the classroom and then outside the classroom. So there are solutions out there. They may not solve all problems, but we've certainly tried our best to address those. So again, if anyone listening is interested in that research or trial, you're affected by poor internet, please do reach out, Andy_Lee@vex.com, because we'd love to help you.
Well, thank you very much for that. I think we may have a conversation about that too later on. Dr. Zan, I think you can also reach out. Maybe your
Sure.
students over there can be helped. Yeah, it can be very sad because when the ICGET series was launched in 2018, the whole idea was to be able to help people from the global south region, but then they are nowhere to be found because there is no power to even connect to the internet.
Exactly.
Yeah, so yeah, it's quite challenging, but maybe we'll get there someday. So thank you very much for your help and for what you are doing to alleviate some of these challenges. I want to move on to cognitive, educational, and I think human impact of AI. So I want to take it from uh, the question: are we outsourcing too much thinking to AI? Which I think has been answered in many ways through some of the contributions that have been made. But I want to go on to ask right now, Dr. Azan, you mentioned something earlier that we need to change how we assess students. That has always been my position.
Yes.
We've had we've had situations where lecturers, professors are arguing about, man, we penalize students for using AI and all that. But in my opinion, education is changing. How students are learning is changing. How they are sourcing information is changing. Why are we insisting on remaining the same? And if we want to change in line with the changes that are happening, what do you think we should be doing? How should we assess learning? Because we still need to assess learning. So, and then maybe my questions should start from what will constitute learning in the age of AI? And then how should we assess that learning? I'll start with you, Dr. Azan.
Well, again, the whole process of assessment should be changed. I mean, for the last 100 or 200 years, education is the same. We're still conducting education the same way. You know, teachers giving out the information and then testing their students. While we are having this, I mean, era of AI and technology, we should focus more on their skills, their presentation, their practical, skills. So instead of, asking the question to write an essay, or to write or to answer yes or no questions, they could produce something practical that could actually give the I mean, the impression of the understanding of the whole course instead of just write, and yes or no, exam quizzes, all this kind of system, which is repeats itself every semester. So we should focus more on their critical thinking, the practical thinking. I would be able to improve my students' skills in certain ways that they could actually be helped when they graduate, instead of just focusing on memorizing. And I mean, that was previous to AI. Now it's not memorizing. Now it's just give me this, give me that, ChatGPT, copy and paste. So we should do something. It's totally different. The ecosystem is totally different. We should change the assessment and evaluation for our students.
Okay, so are you saying we should stop examinations? Because after all, a whole semester long learning, they just do an exam for 2 hours or 3 hours. Should we take that out and replace with what?
Well, instead of a written exam, it should be oral examination.
Okay.
At least we know the student know what they are talking about, instead of
Okay.
just copy and pasting.
Okay, I would like to take you up further on that because I am in a situation where I would say 98% of a class that I taught happened to be Chinese students. They are struggling with communicating in English, but they are excellent students. Technically, they know what they should know, but they can't communicate it. So what should we do? These are all situations that comes together. How should we handle such a thing? Maybe I should. Okay, go ahead, please.
Well, this is the excellent opportunity for them to use AI for useful communication. So instead of using AI to answer their exam or to solve the questions that they have, they should use AI to help them communicate with their lecturer, with their, I mean, peers, and so on. So this is where AI steps on and tell them, okay, you can use me now. I'm useful for you in terms of communication with your lecturers. Because I've been dealing with Chinese students, and yes, exactly as you mentioned, when they first come, they will find this challenge communication. When the language barriers are over, they are excellent students. They can produce a lot of work,
Yeah.
and I totally agree with you. But this is where they should use AI in this particular area to improve their communication, and then it will be an excellent way of using AI the correct way.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm coming to you, Andy. I want you to take all the questions together. What should learning look like in the age of AI? What should assessment look like? And how should we deal with our students? Yeah.
Well, I think everything that's been said is very very stands on its own merit. But one thing that we realized as we were approaching this complex problem is that there's lots of different solutions. So I think that there is a place for standardized assessment. I think that there is a place for oral examination. I think that there is a place for project-based learning. How do we combine it all together? So a lot of this has to start with curriculum design or from a curriculum coordination standpoint. To give just a practical example, if you have a K-12 school, maybe you have multiple classes in just one year group, let's say year 10, and you have multiple classes because your school is that big, and you have each teacher doing their own thing, then how does that scaffold into year 11, year 12, and further? So I think that this is the key point is how do we coordinate all of these different methods of assessment and curriculum design. Something that we do on our side, again, I'm just practical experience, we have a very, very large robotics competition. In fact, it's the world's largest for high school students. So it's an engineering design challenge, and then they have to design, build, program, as well as compete. And then there's also a portion where it's an engineering notebook. So they write down like a journal, all of their different ideas, they measure and they test it, and then they are actually given a oral interview. where they have to explain this. And we have teams from all around the world, and their mother tongue may not be English, but we have a rubric that shows through the performance of how they do on a robotic competition when driving or coding their robot. And obviously there's a physical product, a robot that we can look at and see how well it's built and what is the purpose of all the different functions. They can show us their code, which, you know, go back to your instance, is that, well, all line code is going to use Roman alphabet, right? So maybe that's in the future. Maybe it could be completely programmed in Chinese character sets or whatever language. But right now, if we're talking about professional, there's going to be a convergence to a norm. Okay, so we can certainly deal with those who are outliers who may not have a mother tongue language like English or others, and we can give them, you know, different ways to assess. But there's multiple ways beyond just language that we can be able to help our students understand and guide them. And that all starts, to me, in my opinion, with curriculum design and coordination.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for all the contributions. So I think we are going towards the end. Industry, workforce, and economy, that's what we are looking at now. What jobs do you think will be most disrupted, and which ones do you think will emerge in your industry and in other industries? So I'm still on to you.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you an example. Is you know, we brought him up. So Mr. Elon Musk. So they have many gigafactories, right? And what Tesla has done, just as a case study, look at that. They've disrupted the internal combustion engine industry, because many of the big companies in the past, the Toyotas, the Volkswagens, the Fords, General Motors, they really just focused more so on the marketing of it, because the motor might be designed by one group, the chairs are designed by another group, there's the electronics that go into the cars, it's another company, the tires are from some other company, it's not a Toyota tire, it's some other brand, completely different. They might sell to multiple cars. So the way that we see this is that they're disrupting how the supply chain works, and they're looking for efficiencies, right? We're looking for improvements, and they're ripping up the playbook and they're creating their own path. So working with Tesla in the state of Nevada in the United States, they have a very big gigafactory, and they need people to come work for them. And Nevada is kind of a remote, arid desert climate, not a huge population, certainly not a huge population of engineers. So what they did, we worked with them, is to start up an educational robotics program at a local high school. And then that led to mentorships so that they could see, well, hey, how do I build a robot with these sort of wheels and how it moves around the factory, define different objects and deliver them. That's sort of like this robot in this gigafactory where I can get a job. So they're hiring right out of high school into working at one of the top companies, probably the top company by market capitalization in the world. So we've seen that people are looking for the talent. It's just a matter of, where do I reach them? How do I connect each other? So it goes back to that human component. How can I be able to inspire these youngsters, the learners, even the educators, to try things that maybe they weren't confident about, that they didn't even know was available? How can I make sure that they're not afraid of failure, and that they never want to make a mistake? We should embrace it and learn from failure.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Azan. What do you have to say to instructors? How should we? What should we look for in the future? What do you think will happen to our jobs? Are we going to lose our jobs? He said, "Are you going to fire all of us?"
All right. Just commenting on Andy, excellent example from Tesla. Yeah, it's very powerful because it shows exactly what the future will look like. Companies will not be waiting for the education system, the certificates, they will be waiting for their own, talent and the skills that looking
Yes.
for, yes. So when it comes to education, however, it's more about the role of the educators. I think the role of educators will also be different. Instead of just sending the information, the knowledge, uh, educator themselves will be more of instructional designers, where they design the whole experience will be different. So there will be more of instruction, the experiment itself, the how they could deliver the information in a way that could be different from the traditional way. So the role of educators itself will be different. And no, AI will not take over our jobs,
Thank you.
but
Thank you for the encouragement.
but of course the people with AI skills will take over, the jobs from, I mean, people who doesn't know how the whole system of AI works.
Okay, thank you very much. So as we round up, looking at the past, the present, and the future, I would like you to share your final words, and if you can add to it, what you think we should be doing now. How should we be preparing ourselves for that future? We start with you, Andy.
Thank you so much. I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to meet this wonderful community and share thoughts and learn, most importantly, from both of you. And I think that the future is unwritten, and as long as we can be resilient, as long as we are able to understand and make sense of information, then we'll be able to be okay. There's going to be those who feel helpless. There's going to be those who feel like this is outside of my control, but it's important that you can start small. You don't have to take over the world tomorrow. You can start with just your neighborhood, your community, and then maybe there's adaptability to bigger audiences. But if you can get started in a small scale, then you can be able to tweak it, make it better, and be able to grow it. So I think that the students that might be listening today, or researchers, is like, go out there, talk to someone that maybe you don't know firsthand. Reach out to them. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised that they're meeting someone with social skills, someone who's outgoing, someone that wants to learn. They're going to spot right away that you're actually someone that they want to be able to communicate with and perhaps help out. So as I have progressed in my career, I also realize it's important to give back, speak to those, mentor others. One thing that we've done is work with different universities for pre-service teachers and help them be able to consult with them about faculty of education, what are important opportunities that you should be addressing, and then be able to work with industry. So those are schools or ministries of education, and go, hey, go look at this talent. We're actually, there's a huge pool of talent right there, and you should connect with them. So my parting words is really just try something new. It doesn't have to be today, but maybe in the next week. Try reaching out to someone that you don't know and get to know them.
Thank you so very much for that, Dr. Azan. Your final words?
Thank you very much, Mr. Andy. I would totally agree with Mr. Andy. And what we should do is we should keep on educating these coming generation, lightening the way, guiding them, because uh, AI is there. We need to accept it. And not only that, we need to leverage on that. We need to educate people, especially the next coming generation, that they should be mastering AI for their own future. And this is what we are trying to do.
Thank you so very much. I am really excited about the conversation. This is one of the conversations that I'm always so interested in. My research revolves around AI in education, and I'm going to be inviting the MC to join us now. He's someone that we've had a lot of conversation around this, and sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't agree. So as we round up the session, I just want to appreciate you, both of you. Thank you so much for your contribution. I hope that we can also continue this conversation later on. I'll reach out to you to see what we also can continue to do together to make sure that the
Thank,
things that we have talked about becomes a reality. Thank you so much.
thank you very
Over
much.
to you, Josh.
Pleasure meeting you,
Thank you.
Mr. Andrew.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. What an insight from all our panels. And a million thanks for all of you for your just generosity in sharing your experience, your insights. And I hope that through these conversations that we have, we're able to encourage all those who are in the field to apply AI in the best way ever. Just thinking through these challenges that AI presents, and continue to innovate not just for our own sake, but for the sake of the next generations to come. And we're investing heavily our time, our effort for the benefit of for those who are coming after us. And a million thanks to everyone who has made this open session a success. Also want to appreciate the technical teams and all other people who work behind the curtains, behind the scene, and to make this successful. And somebody is controlling all these things that's happening on the screen here, and they do their best to make this really exciting for us. I must also not forget to mention that ICGET 2026, it's already in the work. We'd love to celebrate that. And every year we try to have this, and 2026 is already in the works already. The proposed venue for this to happen, it's at Victoria University of Wellington in New Zealand. So this is exciting to be in New Zealand. So please start planning for it. And if you would, we look forward to seeing you there. So keep engaging with us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. Watch out for our promotionals that are coming up, and we'd like to thank all of you for your continuous support and participation. Thank you, and God bless you all. Goodbye.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank
Thank you.
you. Bye bye.
Have a